1,050,000, 1,100,000. 5 houses right here, maybe 2 houses right there. You feel me? I do not cap. This is really my lifestyle. This is how I really live.
I got him a deal, right, to play video games once a week for an hour. $2 million up front. Just doesn't do it. He had no money at the time, and he needed money to buy Birkin bags for all these black chicks. Give away money to make his girlfriend jealous. That's literally like the factual story. He told the company, "I need $2 million up front so I can buy a content house." Guys,
6ix9ine flaunts money, buys Birkin bags for his girlfriend, yet leaves his daughter Soraya in need, only providing $2,000 over 5 years.
Daniel Hernandez, better known as 6ix9ine, wasn't just another rapper. For a brief moment, he was the chaos-powered heartbeat of hip-hop. With his rainbow hair, brass persona, and unapologetic energy, he shattered records and rewrote the rules. At his height, over 2 million people tuned in to his Instagram Live, while hits like Gooba and Trolls pulled in a staggering 45 million views in a single day. From an unknown kid in Brooklyn to the self-proclaimed king of New York, his rise was meteoric. To his fans, he wasn't merely an artist, he was a storm, a living testament that an outsider could bulldoze their way into rap's inner circle. But that storm eventually turned destructive. The applause shifted to gears, the hype to hatred. Behind the glittering image, the diamonds, the supercars, the stacks of cash, lay a messy trail of scandals. He flaunted crimes in his lyrics, was convicted on sex-related charges, picked public fights to stroke his ego, and, according to insiders, staged much of his supposed wealth. The breaking point came when he testified against 12 former associates, cutting a 47-year sentence down to just 2. In the eyes of many, the rebellious king had become a shameless traitor, mocked online, branded a Karen, and stripped of the street respect that once defined him. The question now lingers: was his downfall the price of betrayal, or an inevitable crash of unchecked arrogance? To answer that, we have to rewind back to Dummy Boy, the album that crowned him, and follow the trail until the empire he built collapsed beyond repair.
He dictate everything you do.
Yes, what the?
You're not here for our selection?
No. I'm not gonna address nothing. I'm never gonna address nothing. Y'all believe what y'all want to believe. That's a half a ticket right there.
Daniel Hernandez's story begins in Bushwick, Brooklyn, a neighborhood where poverty and violence weren't exceptions but part of daily life. At just 13, tragedy struck when his stepfather was murdered, forcing him to drop out of school. In the 8th grade and take on small jobs to help support his family. In 2014, he reinvented himself as 6ix9ine, name inspired by Japanese anime and the number 69, symbolizing his chaotic, upside-down worldview. With rainbow-colored hair, tattoo-covered skin, and a raw, aggressive rap delivery, he quickly carved out a niche on SoundCloud. Everything changed in 2017 with Gama. More than a song, it was a declaration, pounding beats, brash lyrics, and a music video packed with armed gang members wearing Blood's colors. The track shot to number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 and racked up over 130 million YouTube views in months. "I want people to know I'm real. I live this life," 6ix9ine told DJ Academics, proudly flaunting his affiliation with the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods, one of New York's most infamous factions. His blend of street imagery, loud aesthetics, and fearless defiance resonated with a generation hungry for unfiltered rebellion. The momentum was unstoppable. His debut mixtape, Day 69, hit number 4 on the Billboard 200, with tracks like Kuda and Kick cementing his reputation. Even when his debut album Dummy Boy leaked before release, it still soared to number 2, fueled by the Nicki Minaj collaboration Faith, which peaked at number 3 and went double platinum. On Instagram, he amassed over 15 million followers, each post a calculated mix of controversy and entertainment. "I don't need to be right, I just need to be seen." He once said a quote that perfectly summed up his philosophy. The chaos didn't push fans away, it pulled them closer, creating a cult-like loyalty that shielded him from criticism. But beneath the bright colors and viral stunts, his reckless persona and dangerous affiliations were quietly ticking time bombs. The same fire that launched him to stardom was about to ignite a blaze of legal trouble that would drag him into prison and public disgrace.
Federal agents sent in front of my house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars. One thing I fear in life. No, 2 things. I fear God and I fear the FBI. Only 2 things I'm scared.
The cracks in Daniel Hernandez's image began long before Gumo made him a household name. In 2015, at just 18, he was arrested over a disturbing video involving sexual content with a 13-year-old girl. According to court records, the footage filmed at a Harlem party depicted the victim in a pornographic situation. While Hernandez didn't commit the assault himself, his participation in the video was enough for prosecutors to charge him with use of a child in a sexual performance, a felony in New York. The sentence was serious: 300 hours of community service, 2 years of therapy, and a mandatory apology letter to the victim's family. Without a plea deal, the punishment could have been far harsher. Initially, the case flew under the radar, But in 2017, as 6ix9ine's music and persona began dominating social media, the court documents resurfaced. The timing was devastating. At the height of his fame, the world learned he was a convicted offender in a case involving a minor. Outrage spread across hip-hop forums, with one Reddit user writing, "He's a predator," and another adding, "Nothing excuses this, no matter how famous he gets." The contrast was glaring. In real life, he had a criminal record. Online, he projected the image of a fearless street rapper. To contain the backlash, he went on DJ Akamek's show, claiming the victim was 14 and he was 17, but court records proved otherwise. He was 18, a fact that made fans feel deceived. His claim of a voluntary apology letter was also false. It was court-ordered. Instead of showing genuine remorse, 6ix9ine returned to his provocative antics, seemingly believing fresh scandals could bury old ones. The result was a cancel 6ix9ine movement, with blogs, fan pages, and outlets like Pitchfork, The Daily Beast, and Complex dissecting the case and its career implications. Ironically, his fame only grew proof of the twisted allure of his dangerous rule-breaking image. But the 2015 scandal was just the first deep stain on his record, exposing the cracks in his glamorous gangster persona. That persona thrived on visuals, stacks of cash waved at the camera, fleets of supercars, diamond-covered jewelry, and wild parties. But it was all smoke and mirrors. Former associate Steve Will Do It revealed that 6ix9ine was drowning in debt despite the showy lifestyle, listing millions owed $10 million in back taxes, $9.88 million in damages to a stripper named Alexis after a bottle-throwing incident, $600,000 for an unpaid house, $60,000 to a contractor, and $1 million from a revenge porn lawsuit filed by an ex. Even 6ix9ine admitted, "I don't have money right now," revealing that the cash in his videos was fake. The public's anger deepened when details emerged about his neglect of his children. He spent lavishly on Birkin bags for his girlfriend, and threw cash online for clout, yet contributed only about $2,000 total over 5 years for his daughter. Soraya N. had never met his second daughter. By law, both mothers, Sarah Melina and Marlena M., accused him of financial abandonment, calling his behavior blatant irresponsibility. Meanwhile, legal troubles kept piling up: probation violations, drug test failures which he brushed off as Adderall use, and charges ranging from driving without a license to harassment allegations. In 2024, he was jailed for 45 days and faced the threat of a year-long sentence. The IRS seized his cars, jewelry, and Florida home. His attempts to recover, including promoting dummy coin cryptocurrency and signing a $6 million record deal, collapsed after another probation violation. But instead of laying low, 6ix9ine celebrated his victories in the loudest way possible. After dodging the full brunt of his 2015 case, he threw a notorious party with members of the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods at Felipe Chow in New York. When staff refused service, chaos erupted, shouting, thrown chairs, a security guard injured, and gunshots sending diners fleeing. This incident was just one glimpse into the violence surrounding 9 Trey, armed robberies, public brawls, and reckless shootings. By November 2018, the FBI moved in. 6ix9ine and several gang members were arrested on federal racketeering, armed robbery, drug trafficking, and violent conspiracy charges. Facing a mandatory 47-year sentence, he made the decision that would forever define and destroy his street credibility. He cooperated with prosecutors. In a 2019 trial, he detailed 9 Trey's operations, admitted to funding violent acts, and implicated other rap figures. The backlash was instant and brutal. "He's a rat," Meek Mill declared, echoing the street code's ultimate condemnation. Social media exploded with memes and insults. Vulture summed it up: "This betrayal obliterated everything he stood for, turning his street raps into a mockery of hypocrisy." To the rap community, no excuse, not even his claim of self-preservation, could erase the ultimate sin of snitching. His fall from the King of New York to one of hip-hop's most reviled figures was complete. But 6ix9ine's story wasn't over because, true to form, he would keep testing just how far he could push infamy before it swallowed him whole.
I don't give a if I'm held accountable for what I did. Yes, I snitched, and I did it.
The fallout from 6ix9ine's decision to cooperate with federal prosecutors was permanent. His 47-year sentence was slashed to just 2 years, and he walked out of prison early in April 2020 due to COVID-19 concerns. But the price was steep. His reputation in tatters, banned from countless venues, targeted for attacks, and shunned almost universally in the rap world. Rather than show humility, he leaned into the controversy, boasting, "I beat the system," and monetizing the very betrayal that destroyed his credibility. The move only deepened public disgust. Even charities like No Kid Hungry refused his $200,000 donation, citing his conduct. Fans and critics alike asked the same question, asterisk, how can someone who built a brand on loyalty betray his own crew and then brag about it? Asterisk, legally, his troubles never stopped. After his 2017 probation and 2018 arrest, The infamous testimony against the 9 Gangsta Bloods won him leniency, but by 2024 to 2025 he was back in court, violating probation and serving 45 days in detention for testing positive for stimulants. Financially, his empire collapsed under more than $20 million in debt, $10 million to the IRS, $9.88 million in damages to a stripper named Alexis, $2 million owed to Rumble, $1 million from a robbery settlement, another $1 million from an ex-girlfriend's revenge porn lawsuit, $600,000 for an unpaid house, and $60,000 to a contractor. In 2025, the IRS seized and auctioned off his home, cars, jewelry, grills, and even platinum plaques. Career-wise, the numbers told the story. Tattletales sold just 53,000 copies. While follow-up projects like Leyenda Viva and Blackballed flopped, his pivot to the Latin market fizzled in the US, and his once massive online reach shrank to a shadow of its former self. Instead of chart toppers, he made headlines for airport meltdowns, faking his own death for clicks, assaulting fans, and facing domestic violence allegations. The mothers of his children, Sarah Molina, Marlena M., and Ross Verde, went public with accusations of neglect, revealing that he had abandoned his parental responsibilities while flaunting fake wealth online. In a rare letter to a judge, 6ix9ine admitted "I was reckless and foolish. But for most, it was too little, too late." Fans who once celebrated Gumo now reminisced about a time before the scandals, saying the colored hair provocateur was more likable when he was simply a quirky newcomer. His repeated downplaying of serious crimes, combined with blatant self of his betrayal, alienated even his most loyal supporters. A Reddit user summed it up bluntly, "He can still make music, but nobody will ever take him seriously again." The lessons from his story are painfully clear. First, loyalty is the backbone of any community in hip-hop. Betrayal is a permanent exile. Second, influence carries responsibility. Neglecting your children, glorifying violence, and living a staged life erode both credibility and legacy. Third, fame cannot replace integrity. Views can be bought, but trust must be earned and protected. And lastly, illusion can only shield you for so long. When the truth breaks through, it strips away not just your image, but your future. 6ix9ine once had what millions dream of: talent, fame, and a devoted fan base. But he chose the fastest, riskiest route, fueled by infamy, arrogance, and self-delusion. That road shot him to the top, then dropped him into an abyss where money, fame, and social media clout meant nothing. In the end, his downfall wasn't just about legal charges or public scandals, it was about a complete collapse of trust. Today, his name stands less for music and more as a cautionary tale, proof that fame without principles isn't success at all, but a slow Manutian self-destruction.